What's up, everybody? My name is TC, and this is episode 4 of Jesus is Real. I know it's been a while, but I should be on my grind every week now, so I'll clear that up. I believe we're going to be talking about the drugs, all the drugs that I've been on and have overcame over my life. So, um, I was an addict for close to 7 years, mainly on meth, but I've taken pretty much all the pills. I've done heroin, ecstasy, all that. There's a long list. It doesn't matter really, but I just wanted to let y'all know that I've done the bulk of things, and I escaped it, and I got away with my life, and I'm gonna tell y'all the story about that. Now it's kind of funny how I said meth was the main one, and it was. It's funny how I got started on meth because in school they teach you, like in high school they teach you all about, you know, meth is super bad. That's the worst one, right? Like you're like, ooh, that's really trashy. I don't want any part of that. Well, the thing they don't teach you in school is all the slang terms for it, and so um, I'm working at the apartments that I live at. I was a maintenance man slash. We were remodeling all the apartments, so I went around. I took care. I had to cut the countertops wider, and so the new stoves would fit in. Rebuild them, and then I took care of all the baseboards. So I went to all the apartments doing that, and then I went back home to my apartment. It was just right there. It was really convenient, really cool. One of the guys I worked with lived upstairs from me. He had a history with meth. Again, I'm thinking it's called something else. Like I didn't know he had a history with meth. I thought he had a history with this ice stuff. I thought ice was something completely different. It's not. Ice and meth are the same thing. So there's a lot of terms for it, and uh, you should probably look those up if you don't know, because maybe a similar situation might happen. I don't know. Anyways, so there I am in my apartment, and him and another guy that we worked with, we were all on lunch break, and the other guy asked me if he could smoke, and me having a marijuana blunt flag in my living room, I said, uh, sure, man, like I'm cool. I didn't know he was talking about that, and then he pulls out this meth pipe, which I became very acquainted with over the years after that. But I saw this weird thing, and I was like, "What is that?" And then they started talking about it. This language I haven't heard. This like talking about terms like, does it have legs, and is it sweat good? Is it cut? How much cut is on? So I got interested. Curiosity killed the cat, right? The girlfriend. So they did their thing. I didn't do it right then. The girlfriend I had at the time was much older than me, and I went over to her and her friend's house one night, and lo and behold, they decided to do this stuff. They kind of had a history with it too before. Like I said, she was much older. So I'm like, screw it. I'm going to try this ice stuff. And I tried it that night, and I'm like, whoa, this is pretty cool stuff, man. I really like this. And I told my roommate about it the next day. I said, hey, man, I tried that. I tried this ice stuff. I said, it's pretty cool. He said, oh, so you're going to smoke meth now? And I was like, no, man, it's ice. He said, it's meth. You smoked meth. It's the same thing. And then my whole perspective of this stuff that was so trashy, all this stuff that I'd heard about that you don't want to do this, my perspective completely changed on it because I had already done it and I didn't know. So I was kind of tricked into smoking it my first time in a weird way. I mean, I didn't have to smoke it, but then my perspective on meth completely changed, and I didn't see it as this really bad thing anymore. And so began my long journey, and that's when all the pills and everything um, everything spawned from that, really. I had done ecstasy before that, ecstasy and shrooms and a lot of weed, mainly hippie stuff. And the hard drugs, the pharmaceutical and the meth and the heroin. That's the real demons, and that's mainly what I want to talk about, because that's what hooks people, and that's what destroys people's families and lives. And I can't wait to get to the point where God got me out of it, guys, and I'll end up telling y'all in the next episode. I wanted to break this one down in at least 2 episodes, because I'll try to keep these videos underneath 10 minutes long. So I want to quote a scripture, and I've said this before, I think, but this is my favorite scripture of all time, because you can say it about pretty much anything, and it applies. And that scripture is Matthew 19, verse 26. And it says that with men, nothing is possible, but with God, all things are possible. Even if you think you're so far gone, so far, like guys, I can't be saved. I'm too effed up. I'm too far in the hole. I've already ruined my life. That's all garbage. That's nonsense garbage. If you want to change, it's always an option for you. It is always an option for you. Some people are forced to change. They go to prison. Now, I never got into the stealing part for meth, and a lot of people do. The only reason why was because one of my best friends was a dealer of it, so all I had to do was show up to his house. And I don't know if, I'm not going to say that that's worse than stealing for it, but it was equally bad for me, because it was free, just like stealing for it. Just less risk. All I had to do is show up. I'd show up, smoke meth for 3 or 4 days, be up the whole time, go home for a couple days, come back. Same cycle. This happened for 5 years solid. And like I said, it's close to 7 years that I struggled. I quit meth probably 100 times before I finally. My dad told me this pretty cool little quote about alcohol. He said, "There's a time when you quit, and there's a time when you have your last drink." And that makes sense in a weird way. There's a time when you quit. I quit 100 times. Probably meth 100. I mean, it was like every other month I was quitting meth, because I knew after about a year or 2, this was no good. But I was already hooked. My perspective had changed on it twice. I thought, this isn't bad. And then after a year or 2, I realized everything they taught you in school was completely true about it. It's horrible. It's probably one of the worst. But that's going to wrap up this one. It's been 8 minutes, so I'm going to wrap this one up. I'm going to do back-to-backs. I'll be in the same clothes. I shower, I promise. I'm going to do back-to-back. I'm just going to upload them, so there's 2 separate videos. I'm out. Jesus is real. He loves you. And hey, I love you too. So have a good time, a good day, whatever floats your boat.